Thank you. My name is and I get to serve as mayor of Great Forest, and I'm so privileged to be here to sort of facilitate this gathering, and what a terrific turnout. And before I get too far into this, Judy Hall is standing right here. You know there's usually someone behind the scenes that pays attention to detail and logistics, and they understand all the different detail that it takes to put something on like this. So please thank Judy. And she's going to do some of this later, but what a beautiful venue, the view. So Cynthia and Thomas Parker, they're owners of this. They've been wonderful to work with. So if you have any events coming soon, or even in the near future, think about the view as a place that you might want to hold at, because they've been very hospitable, and you can see that it's a wonderful venue. And then lastly, before I get going any further, I want to thank our friends from the media, because this is a very important issue, and you help amplify the content of our message. You help us be a voice that goes beyond just the walls of this beautiful venue. So thank you for our media for being here. We have a number of outlets. And then for all of you that are here, whether you are trying to be educated further about the sensitive region and the encroachment of development in this area, or whether you are part of planning this and making sure that this is at the top of everyone's priority, because water is that important. So thank you for being here. Give yourself a round of applause. Without further ado, we have a professional video done that's It was produced by someone that does this for a living, and that video is the heart of our mission, and it communicates the commitment to our community and what this is all about. So Kate Weiss is right over here. I think somewhere. Say hello, Kate. I don't know where you are. Kate, so please give your attention to this video to give you a overview of the importance of this. From the Helotes Creek Alliance. I believe we might have some people that drove all the way from Comfort, Texas, because they have a similar battle that they're there. Name Sherry, are you here? We have a number of people. If you can stand, raise your hand, or whatever you do, from the Scenic Loop, Helotes Creek Alliance, and the steering committee. A number of those people. A little bit of privilege. The city of Great Forest thought this was so important that we actually allocated some money in our budget, so that shows priority. And we also made sure that we had a city council liaison as part of that committee, so that they're kind of like the eyes and ears for myself as mayor and for our community. And so Michael Phillips, he's back here. And then I just want to make, and there's probably a number of other people that are here that represent, if not tens of, but hundreds of, or thousands of other people that are here today, because water is that important. And I just want to make a small comment, and this is, I guess, a little bit of why I got involved in the issue, and that is this, and if you can take this perhaps, I've always been taught by my mentors that if you have a position of leadership and you have the ability to influence, and perhaps there's a blessing of wealth, and you have expertise, knowledge, with that there's a responsibility that you make decisions for generations to come. So someone like Lennar Homes right, that has great leadership and expertise, and they have the blessing of wealth. I was hoping that perhaps they would develop in a way that they showed cutting-edge technology, that they became perhaps a national model for how you develop in a sensitive region in our land, that perhaps they would help other people that have the means and the expertise and the leadership to make sure that we have housing for everyone that needs housing, that they would be leaders in that. And from what I know, that's absent from the equation. That this seems to be short-sighted, this seems to be about profit, this seems to be in neglect of the sensitive region that they are developing. And not just Guadalupe Ranch, but in Comfort, in Fredericksburg, and a number of other areas in our state of Texas. And so, to kind of amplify that, the first speaker we have is from Representative Roland Gutierrez. And he and some other people, they're at the State of the State address, right? So our governor is delivering a State of the State address. And so she represents the generations to come, the young person that's hoping we make decisions so that when she becomes a journalist, journalists and media, I hope you're paying attention, she just graduated from UTSA. When she becomes a journalist and she's on the other side of the podium trying to collect a story and communicate that story, she has clean water to drink and she's not worried about her own health because of the system by which that water is provided. So I'd like to welcome up to the stage, we have Lauren Hernandez, who is Representative Roland Gutierrez. Come on up here.
We cannot risk the public health of thousands of Texans by dumping over 1 million gallons of wastewater into Helotes Creek, which supplies water to residents' wells and recharges the Trinity and Edwards aquifers. No Texan should be forced to drink or shower with sewage water. Texas must protect our water supply and increase its resilience to address the pollution and climate change. I'm proud to support you in opposition of dumping wastewater into Helotes Creek.
State Representative Durazo is also at that State of the State address, and he's already written and communicated his opposition to this particular development, and he's been very involved. He does understand what's at the heart of this sort of development. He understands natural resources and the value of those resources. And that comes from his experience with being part of a construction company and developing infrastructure and managing the operations of that infrastructure. And so, sort of as a symbol of water transcends, right? Water transcends certain causes, it transcends certain political lines because it is that important to us. So I'd like to bring up to the podium the Chief of Staff for Representative Durazo, Caleb Cashdower. Caleb?
Hello everyone. Representative Durazo regrets that he could not be here today, but he asked me to share these words. When I first heard about the plans for the Helotes Ranch development, it sounded too crazy to be true. I learned from citizens whose homes would be affected that outdated flood maps were used in the environmental impact report. I learned from a doctor in Helotes that pharmaceuticals would not be processed out of the wastewater. I learned that the TCEQ hadn't even bothered to check if people swam in Helotes Creek. This has been the longest project my office has taken on. We've been working since May of 2003, speaking with everyday folks and with the city leadership of Helotes and Great Forest, and calling and writing and speaking over and over with folks at the TCEQ. Texas is growing, and we should be very grateful for that, but growth has to be smart. We only have one Helotes Creek, and we only have one Edwards aquifer. We cannot put this wonder of the natural world at risk. So, thank you very much.
Our next speaker that we're going to have come up here is a strong advocate for responsible development, land conservation, the preservation of our natural habitat, protecting against urban encroachment in environmentally sensitive areas. She's helped make sure that we have green spaces and parks In fact, if you want to go visit the Bonnie Connor Park, I think you'll have a lot of fun there, bring some kids and enjoy and laugh. She's a former teacher at Helotes Elementary School, so you know I have a special place in my heart for teachers. Former San Antonio City Council person. I kind of deemed her the Wonder Woman of this project, maybe the Queen of Green, Bonnie Connor. Bonnie!
Just in case I forget, what I'm going to say. Or maybe I'll leave it by. Yes, I was a teacher at Helotes Elementary, and I wondered if any of my former students were here. Well, I'm surprised. I was Robin White then. Maybe you were.
When did you teach? What years?
I don't know. A long time ago. You can look at the hair, you can tell. A long time ago. But it was a wonderful place to teach school. I wonder not to hear about my past. But I will say that it has been wonderful being here with you and seeing this kind of crowd that's interested. To see a lot of people that I do know from the involvement that I've been in terms of hoping to save our Edmonds Aquifer from degradation. And we're still on the way to doing that. I frankly would love to see this group get together and somehow make that decision and for this piece of land. I don't know if that's even a possibility at this point. I talked to Annalisa when I got out of the car, was brought up to date again on what this project is, and I hope everybody turns out for that hearing at TCEQ. And another thing, I hope you get in touch with your county commissioner. I hope this is correct information, but I understand they are considering a mud or pit as far as getting money to support the infrastructure of this development. And the louder you talk about it, the more you talk about it, the more you oppose it, the elected officials are going to listen. And that is absolutely critical. So please don't let down your involvement on that. The idea of getting a wastewater permit and then having the developer manage it, as I understand is a possibility, is frightening. I did look into what it takes to become a person handling wastewater. It doesn't take much. I think even I could go and qualify for that. And, I think it really is. It's very minor. I have it right here, and it was amazing. Let me go back and just mention, I'll just give you a couple of suggestions. If they do request a PID, they will be able to manage everything on that property, meaning the developer. And the group that would support that possibly or let them have it would be your county commissioners. Now, I believe if you live out here, your county commissioner is Grant Moody. Easy to call up his office or send an email. It's very simple. Tell him about your objections. If you're in another county commissioner's area, the same thing. All that information is easy to find. And they will listen. That goes to also Peter Sakai. Please keep him in mind. I think he's a fair person. And he will listen to you, whether he will make the decision you want, I don't know. But if they will go for a PID, I don't know. They may go for a MUD, and that's decided at the state. So then you go on to your state representatives and lobby them. I can't tell you how much difference that makes. If you have a state representative, I understand DeRosio, who has already said he is not going to support this development. I will say, and I want you to know, you are probably helping the city of San Antonio. If you shop in San Antonio or you perhaps live in the city, you're helping to support the acquisition of land over the Edwards Recharge Zone to protect it. Up to date, I want to say the collective we have been involved in it since pre-2000. We have Dixie over here. See a lot of familiar faces. We now have 189,000 acres. Ooh, give me chills when I say it. Protected over the recharge zone. That has been done. I just refreshed your memory on this. 1/4 of a cent tax. Now that's pretty darn cheap, but we've managed to do it, and the money has been put to good use. There's a wonderful team that is still in place that handles that very scientific way of selecting the land, and funding has continued to go on thanks to our mayor and some of our others through some of the city's funds. So we will continue to do that. And I think it would be wonderful if some way you could get some kind of, I guess maybe I don't know whether it would be a bond issue or what it would be. I don't know how you do that out here. But if you protect that land, do so. It's being done right now by the city of San Antonio. So it's wonderful to be here with what I call the real people. You all are the real people. And these are the kind of people I enjoy being with, the kind of people I see accomplishing things when they want to get something done. And it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. So excited that you're here. Next to the podium, we would like someone to speak to us today who's my colleague and friend. He's got an MBA in international business. He's been very involved in the construction business also. 4 years as council member in Helotes, 4 years as mayor. He has 20 years as a fireman with the city of San Antonio, so you know he's a certain leader. Mayor of Helotes, Rich Whitehead. Rich.
Pleasure and honor to be here with this fantastic facility, joining forces with you all. I've enjoyed getting to know Mayor Garrow for the past year, strengthening the relationships between our cities. We share a lot in common, actually. We have similar goals and aspirations for our communities, and we value relationships more than rhetoric. You know, as guardians to the gateway to the hill country, we share the same goals of clean water. That's a basic goal and a basic need that we have, and we 100% support your efforts here. We join forces today to bring recognition to the need for state organizations such as TCEQ to adequately protect our environment, not just give lip service and blindly approve massive developments without due diligence to the effects on the environment or the protection and preservation of our environment. I know that it is desire to stop developments and completely, and that is a tough task to stop development. Land rights and the inherent rights afforded us through the state and federal governments allows us to build our homes on our properties and allows developments to happen. But when you exercise your rights and do a development and it causes irreparable damage to somebody else's property, that is not a protected activity. And that's what we need to look at. And what I want to bring today in my talk with you is another aspect to this, different than what other people will be speaking with, and that is really responsibilities that we need to impress upon TCEQ. The real concern for me comes from assessing that irreparable damage. In other words, the concern I have is that TCEQ is entrusting the protection of the environment not to their instruments of monitoring, but to relegate their responsibilities to the developer. Worse is that Lennar has a history of creating a separate organization to own and operate the sewage treatment plant and to self-monitor. I pray that the 1 million gallons per day that goes out into our creek is up to standards, but if it is not, I have limited trust that a corporation will self-report any violations. When will we even know that there's a problem until it's too late? It's kind of like not finding out you have cancer until it's stage 4, you can't do anything about it. Even more concerning is that if the Shell Corporation will have any assets to pay for any cleanup and reparations for any violation of output standards. Fighting against development may be an uphill battle, but it's worth the effort. But I feel we should demand that the developer keep significant funds, millions of dollars, in trust or in bond to immediately pay for any violations and fix any issues when they arise or if they arise. Ronald Reagan was famous for saying, trust but verify. TCEQ is asking us to trust that Lennar will be better with this operation than they have been in past projects. I say we trust, but make Lennar verify the worthiness of our trust by fronting the funds to guarantee cleanup and reparations should a violation occur. Of course, if they have to put up money, maybe they will think twice about putting the project in. Or perhaps think about, instead of 3,000 homes, reduce it to large lot properties that can have aerobic septics. That's what we did in Iron Horse Canyon, very responsibly without any effect to downhill properties. There are certainly interests at stake here that have way deeper pockets than we have. And as citizens, we have the power to appeal to the common sense and ask TCEQ and the powers that be to require reasonable financial assurance to warrant the trust that we are being asked to front. I do not think it's unreasonable to require TCEQ to periodically monitor and test the output and verify the self-reported results from Lennar. In Helotes, we deal with similar TCEQ issues with the air quality from the bulking pits and their blasting. I have had very frustrating experience working with TCEQ because in that instance, and it's similar to the water issue, it's with the air issue, even when they apply for air quality permits, the renewal of a 10-year permit, which is, you would think that would be when they test the air quality, TCEQ fails to test. In fact, when I pressed them on the issue, they said, well, we don't even really have any equipment. But their oversight was tested. Well, their oversight is in this site, and they do have some modern equipment, but it's 5 miles upwind at Marshall High School. So that's what we are being relegated to, the quality that's upwind, when the wind's blowing this way, they're testing the wind up there. And now I'm seeing a replication of that same mentality, well, we'll just let them self-monitor. This is not acceptable, and I feel it should be a component of your fight to engage TCEQ to make sure that they are protecting and living up to what they are called and formed to do, not just set standards, but also the law and enforcement. Thank you.
So leadership matters, and we have someone here today that's going to speak with us and stand next to us who has been the leader of San Antonio, the 7th largest city in the nation, 8 years serving as mayor of San Antonio. And, you know, he's got so many accolades and accomplishments when you lead a city like that for as long as he has. SA Connects, SA Climate Ready, a budget that's equitable. He was and is becoming more and more an influence across our nation, who is president of the National League of Cities. So if you want to have a leader of leaders, you go to Ron Nuremberg, because he can be that leader of leaders. He's one of the most influential municipal leaders, and I can't wait to find out where you go after this. He's a great man, a great human being, a wonderful husband, and a terrific father. Mayor of San Antonio, Ron Nuremberg.
Good afternoon, neighbors. How are you? It's good to see all of you. Many of you I got to know years ago as I was traveling up and down the corridor dealing with a starkly similar situation when there was a 2,000 plus home development that was going to be put over right next to the Bracken Bat Cave. And we like to draw some lessons from that. There were some significant challenges with that particular development that I think we can lean on that experience to figure out how we go from here. But the reason why I'm here is that I was taught long ago by people like Brian Connor, who I am proud to call a mentor and a friend, others of you in this room, people who have passed on recently, like former Mayor Howard Peake, that there is a saying in Texas that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. This is why this fight is worth the time for every resident in this area to get involved in. We are blessed, this region is blessed, and has been for thousands of years, by the largest single-source aquifer in the world, the Edwards Aquifer. It has supplied countless generations with the life-sustaining water that we need. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have the city of San Antonio. We wouldn't have Helotes, Bernie, all these other places in a 6-county-wide region. That's why there's life here and civilization in this part of Texas, is because of that water. And I was taught long ago that the single most existential issue that we will have to face in the future is a potential catastrophic contamination of the Edwards Aquifer. We have to do everything we can in our power as stewards of this water supply to protect it for ourselves, for our economy, and for future generations. And that's why, as Bonnie mentioned, for over 20 years now, the city of San Antonio has put its money where its mouth is. Voters have come out year after year to approve a source of funding that is now protected, conserved, forever, in perpetuity, 200,000 acres of the most sensitive recharge zone and contributing zone land in the entire state. So it's critically important that we raise our voices when we're in a situation where the matrix of laws and regulations doesn't give the average resident a voice in the process. The truth of the matter is, this is an uphill climb. This is going to be a mountain that we're going to have to climb together. But the first and most important thing that we do is recognize that this is not a Democrat issue, this is not a Republican issue, this isn't an environment versus the economy issue, this is an issue of the life and sustainability of this entire region. The Central Texas region, which is roughly served by the Edwards Aquifer, is the engine of the Texas economy. And if you want to threaten that future, threaten our water supply. So, what I will tell you is that the city of San Antonio, which I represent, the only reason why we have a strong future ahead of us is because we can count on these basic essentials. And that's why we will continue to serve this Edwards Aquifer Protection Program so long as I have a voice in the process, but why we also have to raise our voices when it's being threatened. What I would encourage us to do, as Mayor Whitehead said and Mayor Garbo said, the first thing we have to do is make sure we tell our neighbors what's going on. It is surprising to me how many people aren't even aware in the city of San Antonio that the Edwards serves into our faucets. We have to tell our neighbors and give our neighbors the phone numbers to the representatives who are going to be making these calls. And then we have to make sure that we show up at these hearings, at TCEQ, and then ultimately to the board hearing. But do not give up. Make sure that you tell the story to everyone who will listen. And again, thank you so much for joining arms and allowing me to speak with you today. I will be with you in this fight. And we will continue to carry on until we can ultimately ensure that our future is sustained by the Edwards Aquifer. Thank you all very much.
So I have some notes, but they're way back there somewhere. They got drowned in people. But I did happen to have this. It says, not my water faucet. All right. I'm here to do two things. One, to stall for a minute while the people that are going to be the parade marshals leave and you're ready to greet you and line you up for the parade. And the second task that I have is my favorite, and that is to thank people. Mayor Garbo actually started it, but my first thank you is to you and you and you and you for your time, for your words, and for your courageous leadership in this fight for our water. I can't say that enough. Courageous leadership is what it's all about, whether you are elected or you are in your community as an activist. And then I'm going to say one more time thank you to the Parkers, who happen to just have a place that our community could come together today that looks out on Helotes Creek, the water we're trying to preserve. I'd like to thank Kate again for the literally thousands of hours, some of them at 3 in the morning. She called me at 3 in the morning this morning to finish this. And she said to me that really and truly it was a project of her friends, her family, and everyone out here who opened their doors to help create this beautiful story of what is going on right now in our community. I want to mention the city of Helotes and the city of Great Forest are making sure we had a permit for the parade, as well as a lot of good security to make sure that we're all safe as we begin this march. Then I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Garcia family and El Chaparral Mexican restaurant. How many people have ever eaten there? Okay, that would be 100%. When I asked Charlie, would you please help me out a little bit and feed the people? They were right on it. They were completely astonished that this project had even gotten as far as it had. So we thank the people, all the people who set up in El Chaparral. I think that's my list. I see most of my people. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to thank you guys. All of you for attending. Yes. I want to thank you in advance for marching with us. I want to thank you in advance for doing what Mayor Nuremberg suggested, talking to your communities, talking to your friends here in this area, but also across the state of Texas. Again, this is not just an issue for us locally, it's an issue for us statewide and nationally. And I'm going to do what you probably guessed I was going to do. I'm going to maybe ask you to help us with our legal defense fund. Conveniently located on your tables, you will notice a little decoration, and in the decoration there are a couple things. There's some cards. If you have any questions related to the Helotes Ranch, the wastewater treatment plant, or Edwards Aquifer Protection, just write them down on those cards. We'll collect them, and we will see that they are answered on our Scenic Loop website. Along with that, there on every table there's a QR code that will allow you to donate to us, the Helotes Ranch Fund. All of that money goes to pay for our expert witnesses and to our legal defense. Or if you're old-fashioned like me, there's a little envelope, you can write a check, and we will take anything that you would like to give. But I'm going to mention one thing that is a surprise to me, or was a surprise to me, and many of the people in the room. We had an anonymous donor that came to my attention night before last, and they have agreed to match dollar for dollar. Yes, any amount that you should give on a QR code between now or 2 o'clock today and 5 o'clock today. So there's a handy little QR code that you can carry with you, but please take advantage of this. We would love to have, and I think the last amount that they mentioned was possibly even as much as matching $10,000. That's all my thank yous, and I think I've seen all my people's furies, so if Mayor Garr would come back and get you guys all excited about marching, and everybody would grab your jugs, I will see you out there.
All right, thank you, Judy. Yeah, so get one of these jugs. Hopefully you signed up when you first entered. We will send you a link to the Zoom meeting.